Welcome back for another video. Is that the worst transfer of the season? Ekitike to Mbeumo as the Liverpool forward bagged a brace against Newcastle and Mbeumo blanked against Fulham, with the other Man United attackers Bruno, Cunha and Saka all returning as well. 71 points all out though, so still actually a pretty good week all in all, but it could have been a huge week if not for that bad call. A green arrow to 39k though, and double Gameweek 26 is now confirmed. Arsenal play Brentford away and Wolves away, and Wolves are going to have Forest away, Arsenal home. So that's a relief, given that I've only got the one Chelsea player and no Everton, because the alternative double would have been really bad for my team. So it's triple Arsenal, Manny in plays for the double. However, Saka pulling up in the warm-up last game week means that he's going to have to be fixed in the team now. I mean, in hindsight, I think that's another reason that I think getting Mbeumo a week too early was just a bit too aggressive. Like, we were due to get more information on the League Cup this week, whether that was the predicted double for Arsenal Wolves locked in, or Chelsea pulling an upset and getting a double with Everton. And I would have had 3 free transfers this week instead of the 1, and I would have been on more points as well. So I wanted to be honest about that. I mean, no one plays perfectly, and I make mistakes every season. Sometimes it's worth doing nothing to get the extra information. Elsewhere in the team though, Captain Bruno with a clutch stoppage time second assist, and that earned him 2 bonus points for 20 points as captain. Enzo with a late goal, Lefay got DEFCON, double Arsenal defence clean sheet, and Mukiele making it returns in, I think it's 9 straight games now. He's only 4 points behind Timber. He's almost in the team of the season. I did a video on the biggest game breakers of all time a year or two ago. Some of you might have seen it. Mukiele needs another 42 points in his final 14 games to make the list. So it's only 3 points per game on average. The likes of Palmer, Mahrez, Kane and Dallas from seasons gone by on the list there. Basically measuring the most points per million in the game's history. Palmer's number 1 from that season when he was 5 million. I mean, DEFCON will obviously have helped Mukiele a lot, but he's been unbelievable this season. Anyway, let's have a quick look at how you got on. The best and worst submissions from last game week. NCFC activated his wildcard, which got off to a disaster start. 40 points all out, and he says 477k to 793k rank drop on a wildcard. Paul D used his bench boost, and he says, I'm breaking the 100 point barrier for the first time this season. 103 points all out he got with 18 points bench boosted. He even had Reinildo's 11 pointer, which was his biggest score of the season. FPL YOLO says, screenplay disaster class directed by me. So he sold Ekitike for Mane, and then he did Barter Saka ahead of that double game week. But that was a minus 11 point gain. Minus 11 points. I feel your pain, mate. I only got a couple more points than you with the similar moves I made. And lastly, Farapang had an absolutely insane game week. 112 points with the bench boost, and says, I needed it after a rough month. Kelleher's 10 pointer, he had Verts' 12 points. Bruno captain for 20, Enzo and Ekitike's goals. He had Senesi's DEFCON and clean sheet, Reinildo's 11 points bench boosted. Absolutely crazy score, well played. 57 points above the global average. So let's have a look at how my team is shaping up for Gameweek 25 and transfer plans. Arsenal are home to Sunderland, which is a fixture that's got some of the best clean sheet odds of the entire season. So hopefully that translates into a clean sheet for Ryan and obviously Gabriel. Every game needs to be played like a title decider right now. The gap is 6 points to City, but Arsenal still need to play at the Etihad. In defence, it's Gabriel, Van Dijk and Anderson. So the clean sheet odds have got Arsenal on 58%, which is 24% more than the next most. Chelsea and Fulham are on 34%, so I'm glad to have Anderson in place. It's a rough fixture for Van Dijk, and I sort of earmarked this to be a difficult week for my team either way due to how the fixtures have fallen in basically the worst way. I've got Mukiele and Lefay that have got Arsenal, O'Reilly's got Liverpool, Mane's got Chelsea, Van Dijk's got Man City, and now I also have to deal with the Saka injuries, so I think it might be a week where I just want to survive basically, rather than expect any big movement. Who are you going to be captaining for the double game week? I was strongly considering Saka, which makes that injury even more of a huge shame, though maybe it might have saved me from what could have been a disaster there. I mean, I think now Gabriel is going to be by far the most popular. He's on 7.2 points per match this season, which is top in the entire league. He's actually even ahead of Haaland now, who's just about behind him on 7.1 points per game. This screenshot here is from FPL.page on the statistics page. It's free if you want to check it out and play around with it. FPL Focal in the App Store. Bruno's third top for points per game. And Rice not too far down either on 5.6, so I think he's a shout for captaincy as well. In midfield, it's Bruno, Saka, Enzo and Mbeumo. Bruno will be captain again this week. The best asset in the game right now, and if you've not got him in your team, he needs to be the #1 transfer priority really. Over the last 4 game weeks, he's created 8 big chances. That's 5 more than anyone else in the league over that run. Only 4 shots though over 4 game weeks, so I'd like to see him having a pop of goal a bit more. Only 0.43 XG over the last 4, 1.79 XA is where the bulk of his expected involvements come from. Spurs have actually been weirdly far better in away games. They've got 5 clean sheets in away games this season. Only Arsenal have got more with 6. So Saka wasn't in the League Cup squad as they knocked Chelsea out, and the injury is reportedly not serious. However, they're hoping to have him back in time for the North London derby later this month. So that's Gameweek 27, so in a nutshell, Saka's got to go. There's no way he starts both games in the double, which is what you want from a double gaming asset. Likely won't even be involved in either game, to be honest with you. There's a couple of ways to go with Saka replacements. I'll talk transfer plans in a sec. Chelsea face Wolves away next. I didn't have much joy of Enzo early in the season, but this time round he's been great the last couple game weeks owning him, with consecutive goals and 8 pointers. Wolves have actually turned a corner over the last month or so. This might not be as easy fixture as their league position suggests. Wolves have conceded 5.14 XG over the last 6 game weeks. That's literally only 0.03 XG behind Liverpool, who are topping the entire league over that time frame. Are any of you looking at Saul, maybe a Wolves defender, for the double? It's just a shame that it's a pretty dreadful double game week. Like, you're really banking a lot on that Forest game really, because it's very hard to imagine they keep a clean sheet against Arsenal. I still really like Mbeumo as an asset despite the blank. That was a little bit concerning for Cunha to have scored, and then Sesko to have come on and scored as well. Carrick's really spoiled with depth and attack, even after Dorguy's injury. Like, who misses out if he decides to give Sesko a start? Hopefully it's Cunha or Ahmad. Mbeumo went over to left wing after Sesko came on last game, and it was Cunha who got taken off early. And up front it's Mane, Haaland and Thiago. It wasn't part of the plan to use Mane this week. The original plan was to sell Lafay and run a 3-5-2, but now Lafay is going to have to stay in the team a bit longer as Saka now needs replacing. I think Lafay, Mane and O'Reilly are all pretty close in terms of which one to start. Would you go with Mane or one of the other two for that final spot in the 11 if it was your team? Like with Lafay, I'm basically just hoping for DEFCON at best realistically. And with O'Reilly, it's basically hoping for a clean sheet versus Liverpool away, which seems quite unlikely if he does start. So I've gone with Mane, who has looked sharp. He was actually a bit unlucky last game. He had a goal chalked off for offside in the build-up. He was picked up purely for the double game week, and so far, Krupi would have been the far smarter choice, given that he did literally score last game week and get bonus. And he actually would have auto-subbed on for me as well after Saka not playing. However, there's 2 game weeks instead of 1 now for Mane to potentially still be a good transfer. It's Chelsea home and then it's the double game week. The only thing is Krupier's got Villa home and Everton away, so he could just extend the gap. Hopefully Mane comes in clutch. Haaland vice-captain for the game at Anfield. From both an Arsenal and an FPL perspective, I'd love him to blank here. I mean, he's still going to be over 100% effective ownership due to captaincy, so every point from him hurts your rank right now. So I was happy to take the assist last game week and a fairly low score from him. So yeah, obviously, like if a player is hurting your rank every week just by owning them and not captaining, then you can argue they're not even worth owning at all. He'll probably be my captain again in the weeks following the double, so Newcastle home, Leeds away, Forest home, West Ham away, and then they probably blank in Gameweek 31. My front 3 are projected to do badly based on the projected goals this week. Arsenal are top on 2.5, Man United 2.1. Chelsea 1.9, so good coverage in midfield, but Man City are on 1.6 projected goals, Brentford 1.3 and Wolves 1.1. Hopefully Newcastle is still missing Bruno G and a couple other players for Thiago's visit, given how instrumental he is for them. They're just not the same team without Bruno G in the team. Perhaps Newcastle having to play midweek away at the Etihad in the League Cup as well could play into Brentford's hands. So, the bench this week is absolutely shocking. It's Dubravka, O'Reilly, Lafay and Mukiele. I've seen some people looking at bench boosting this week, and my team personally couldn't be any further from a bench boost. If anyone unexpectedly misses out from my team, then we could be in trouble this game week. So in terms of transfer plans, unfortunately Saka's going to have to be sold right before an incredible fixture home to Sunderland and then the double game week. There's 2 options that I'm looking at. Option 1 is Saka to Sarr or Ndiaye, and then O'Reilly to Timber. This fixes 2 issues in my team, but it would mean a -4 hit. Saar looks great because he's got Brighton away, and then he's got Burnley and Wolves home. Plus he could be on penalties now after scoring one last game week. And Ndai's got a similar appeal. He's on pens, but not quite as good fixtures. However, Ndai wouldn't need selling again in Game Week 31, whereas Saar will in all likelihood. So the plan is to keep it simple this week, and it's going to be to swap Saka to Rice. Rice's points have dried up a bit lately, and he did say after the Chelsea game on Tuesday night he's shattered. And unfortunately for him, Marino's injury means he might not get as much rest either. It could mean better minutes from an FPL perspective though, which could be good. Arsenal and Wolves actually have an FA Cup fixture in between their double game week fixtures. Arsenal have got Wigan home, Wolves have got Grimsby Town away. Unfortunately, both of those are good enough fixtures that the managers can afford to rotate in, so I'd expect that to be Rice's rest and starting all the other games. I don't think it's impossible that Arteta starts White versus Sunderland either over Timber, given how much Timber's played, so that also puts me off the -4. The turnaround is pretty good though for Arsenal, so they played on Tuesday, and then they play on Saturday, and then after that is Thursday, and then it's the FA Cup, and then the second double game week fixture, so I think Timber likely starts all games for what it's worth, but I'm just not happy to take that risk. Rice just makes more sense for me. Just quickly on Madueke as well, because I think a few of you are probably wondering about him. My issue with Madueke is that when Saka's back in a few game weeks, so probably game week 27, then Madueke is immediately an issue that needs addressing again. So that's another transfer back out. Whereas Rice is probably going to be in the team longer, all the way till game week 31. Although I have 4 doublers in 26, the knock-on effect to having to sell Saka now is I'm going to have to play Thiago against Arsenal, and I'm probably going to have to risk starting O'Reilly against Fulham. Lafay and Mukiele have got Liverpool in game week 26. Anderson's got Man City, so they'll be on the bench already. I could spend a transfer in 26 and slightly improve things, but as it stands, I might actually roll, and I'm looking at Charlotte from game week 27, who returns from suspension with some amazing fixtures thereafter, all the way till 31, and probably the wildcard after that. I can afford to look at him now with the Saka money I've freed up, so that's one positive from selling Saka at last. So yeah, it could be Charlotte in for Lafay in 27. Long term, I'm gradually going to be building towards the blank game week 31, where I'm going to need to sell my Arsenal and City assets, plus Mane to make sure I get 11 solid players out, and then I'll probably wildcard in game week 32. I'll be back tomorrow with the experts video to have a look at what the top all-time managers doing this week with chips active. Make sure you subscribe him. See you soon for the next one.